Passing maths exams with a distinction, does it feel so out of reach, just like you're kicking a bad habit for you? Well, if you feel that way, subscribe to my channel so that you get to practice all these problems and reach your goal of getting a distinction at the end of the year. Now, x squared minus 10x equal to 0. The first step that we're gonna do, we have to take out the greatest common factor from these. So the greatest common factor from these two terms is x, and all I'm left with is x minus 10 inside the bracket, which is equal to 0. The next step is to set up these two terms to the zero product property. That means any one of these terms must be 0 so that it can be the zero product property. Now, the first time we're going to have x equal to 0 or x minus 10 equal to 0. So the first one, x equal to 0, is okay. The second one, we're going to have x equals to 10. So many learners may not trust me with this answer. To check this, we have to substitute back x equal to 0 and x equal to 10 back into our equation. So let's see if we substitute x equal to 0 here. So this is a proof. 0 squared minus 10, 0, which is equals to 0. 0 equals to 0. So that means x equals to 0 checks out. Now let's check if we substitute with 10. It's gonna be 10 squared minus 10 times 10, which is equal to 0. 100 minus 100 equals to 0. So even this x equals to 10, it checks out. The next problem, B, we have 3x squared plus 15x. 3x squared plus 15x equals to 0. Like previously, we just have to check out the greatest common factor. So from here, 15x equals to 0. Our greatest common factor is gonna be 3x, and all I'm left with is x plus 5, because if you multiply this back, is gonna give you 3x squared plus 15. The next step, I'm gonna set up this to a zero product property. Now the first equation is gonna be 3x equals to 0 or x plus 5 equals to 0. Solving these, I'm gonna have 3x over 3 equal to 0 over 3. These two cancel, so my solution is x equals to 0 over 3 on this side. And on this side, I'm gonna take 5 to the other side. It's gonna be x equals to negative 5. So having these two answers, we can go back and check if they could be substituted in our original equation so that they give us 0. Now 3 to the power of 3 into 0 over 3 squared plus 15 into 0 over 3 equals to 0. So here we're gonna have 0 over 3 squared multiplied by 3, which is 0 multiplied by 3, which is 0 plus 0, which is 0. So x is 0 over 3, it checks out. Now x equals to negative 5. We're gonna substitute negative 5. 3 into negative 5 squared plus 15 into negative 5, which is equal to 0. So here we've got 5 squared, 25 multiplied by 3, it's 75. 15 minus 5 minus 75 is equal to 0. So even this one, it checks out. Now our two solutions are correct. Let's go to number C. It says negative 8x squared minus 12x equal to 0. If you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the correct answers. Okay, moving on. The first step, I'm gonna have to take out the greatest common factor, which is negative 4x, and I'll be left with 2x plus 3 inside the bracket, which is equal to 0. The next step, I'm going to set both of these terms to a zero property, so that I have negative 4x equals to 0, or 2x plus 3 equal to 0. So for the first one, negative 4x equal to 0, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4 over negative 4, so that I have x equals to 0 over negative 4. So that's my first solution. My second solution, 2x, I'm going to take 3 to the other side, is equals to negative 3. The next step, I divide both sides by 2. So these ones cancel out, and I have x equals to negative 3 over 2. So that's my solution for this one. Moving on to number D, it says x squared minus 81 equals to 0. If you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the correct answer. So the next step, we are going to turn this into a binomial square, and it's going to be x squared minus 9 squared, because 81 is 9 squared, which is equal to 0. The next step, we're gonna have to turn this into a difference of two squares. Now if you have a plus b, anytime you have a plus b squared, is gonna be a plus b multiplied by a plus b. So this is the sum of two squares. Now in this case, we have a difference of two squares. Anyway, it's still the same, because we're gonna have x minus 9 and x plus 9, which is equals to 0. Now the next step is to solve these two terms. The first one is going to be x equals to 9, or x equal to -9. Notice that these binomial squares can also be solved by the square root formula. That is our method 2. So if you have x squared minus 81 is equal to 0, it can be solved by x equal to 81. Then we take out the square root of both sides. Then it becomes x equals to plus or minus 9. That's method 2 of this binomial square. So number E, we are going to another binomial square. Negative x plus 49 equal to 0. Recall that, guys, these are quadratic equations. They are just only missing the constant, so they become the binomial squares. The first step on this one is to convert this into a binomial square and get out the greatest common factor. So if you have a look at it here, the greatest common factor is going to be this negative. So it's x squared minus 49 can be written as 7 squared, which is equal to 0. Now here we have a difference of 2 squares, which can be rewritten as x plus 7, x minus 7, which is equal to 0. So solving these, I'm gonna have x equal to -7 or x equals to +7. Again, this one also can be solved by a square root method. Moving on to number F, I have 7x squared minus 63 equal to 0. This is also a quadratic equation with a missing constant. Part 2, we are going to do a quadratic equation which includes a constant. For now, we're just going to start off with these ones. As you can see, both here, there is no greatest common factor between 7 and 63. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to separate out 7 so that I have these factor 7x. So inside the bracket I'll be left with x minus 9 equal to 0, because 7 multiplied by 9 equal to 63. So the next step, I'm gonna have 7x equal to 0 or x equals to 9. So those are my two solutions, x equals to 9 and 7x equal to 0. Number G, it says 9x squared minus 25 equal to 0. Now, if you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the correct solution. Okay, as you can see from here, we can see that 9x squared can be rewritten as 3x and 2 outside, minus 25 can be written as 5 squared equal to 0. Notice that in all of these problems, the first step that we do is to get this quadratic equation into a binomial square so that you can get the difference of two squares. That's what we do in all of these problems. So the factors are going to be 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5, which is equal to 0. So solving these, I'm gonna have 3x equal to negative 5. Dividing both sides by 3, I have x equals to negative 5 over 3, or 3x equals to 5. Dividing both sides by 3, these two cancel and I'm left with x, which equals to 5 over 3. Our next problem H takes into consideration the full quadratic square. So here what you're going to do, the first step is to get the factor pairs of the constant. So the factor pairs of 24 are factor pairs 8 and 3. So if you multiply 8 and 3, you get 24. That's what we are going to work with. Now, factoring x squared plus 11x plus 24, we're gonna get x plus 3 and x plus 8, which is equal to 0. So our factors are gonna be, our x solutions are gonna be x is equal to negative 3 or x equal to negative 8. The next problem, we have x squared minus 5x minus 36 equals to 0. If you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the correct answers. Like we did on the first one, we need to check out the factors of 36. So our factor pairs are positive 4 and 9. So that's what we are going to deal with here. Now x plus 4, x minus 9 equal to 0. Solving this, we are going to have x plus 4 equals to 0 or x minus 9 equals to 0. So for the first one, our solution x equals to negative 4. Our second one, for our solution x equals to 9. If you got those two solutions, that means you solved it the correct way. Moving on to the next one. So the next one says negative x squared minus 11x plus 42 equal to 0. If you want to try this on your own, pause this video and try to get the solutions. So looking at this, the factor pairs of 42, I'm gonna have 14 and 3, because when I multiply 14 3 times it gives me 42. So the first thing that I'm gonna do on this equation, I'm going to factor out the negative sign. So I have x squared plus 11x minus 42 equal to 0. The next step, 42, the factors that I had there was 14 and negative 3. So that's what I'm going to write. The factors are x minus 3, x plus 14, which is equals to 0. Remember guys that we need to get the factors which add up to the middle term. So negative 3 and 14, they add up to negative 11. That's why I chose those factor pairs. And here our greatest common factor was this negative sign. So we got rid of it. Now solving this, we're gonna have x minus 3 equal to 0, or x plus 14 equal to 0. So we see x minus 3 to the other side, you're gonna have solution x equals to 3 or x equals to negative 14. Moving on to our next problem, K, we have 3x squared minus 27x plus 60 equal to 0. If you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the correct answers. Okay, looking at this one, we can see that 3, 27 and 60, they don't have more or less anything in common according to their variable. But if I can take out 3 as our greatest common factor, I'm going to be left with x squared minus 9x inside the bracket plus 20 equal to 0. So the next step, I'm gonna find out the factor pairs of 20 which add up to 9x, which are gonna be positive 5 and positive 4. So I have 3 into x minus 4, x minus 5 equal to 0. So solving these, I have x equal to 4 or x equal to 5. So those are my two solutions there. Moving on to our penultimate example, L. We have 5x squared plus 18x plus 9 equal to 0. If you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video before I give you the solution.